Welcome back. I hope everybody survived the week just fine. And if this is your first time seeing me, I'm glad to have you here. I'm Felicity Fletcher. I'm an avid reader, a hopeful author, and a practicing witch and astrologer. And this is one of my weekly astrology videos. This video is covering the week of Sunday, March 30th through Saturday, April 5th. It's a very special week, and I want to dedicate this video to a special person. This week is my mom's birthday, so this video is dedicated to her. She's a very special person in my life. She supported me with everything I do, and she watches every single one of my videos. So, hi Mom, this is for you. All right, let's jump into the astrology. So the very first thing that's happening is on 30th, on Sunday, Neptune is going to enter Aries. Neptune is a slow-moving planet. It takes many, many years for Neptune to move from one sign to another. We just had another slow-moving planet move signs. That was Pluto moving into Aquarius. We talked a lot about the societal impacts of that. We talked about the big picture things. This is the first time Neptune's going into Aries. These slower-moving planets tend to, when they do the sign changes, it tends to take a while because it'll move into Aries, then it's going to retrograde back into Pisces, then move into Aries. It does that a couple times. This cycle of Neptune and Aries, though, just to give you an idea, is not going to end until 2039. So while the sun goes through every single sign in 1 year, this takes, 15 years? Less? I can't do math right now. 14 years. It takes 14 years to move through the sign of Aries. When these big planets move signs, it tends to be a pretty big energetic shift. A lot of the time we can kind of feel relief because when the planets are at the last degrees of a sign, it can get to be a lot. It can be very overwhelming. So when it moves, it's an energetic shift and we kind of feel some sense of relief. Looking at Neptune in Aries, we never know exactly what to expect because Neptune is a planet that's hard to really nail down. It's the planet of dreams. It's the planet of illusion and disillusion at the same time. So we can look back at what's happened in the past. We can use that as guides, but we'll never quite really know. But I do find something very interesting in that the last time Neptune was in Aries was the American Civil War back in the 1800s. Anybody else just get a chill? Get a little scared? It is a scary time. We're not going to lie about that. But we don't know exactly what's going to happen. Neptune, like I said, it's the planet of illusion and disillusion. And it's entering Aries. It's entering a sign that is a trailblazer, that pushes, that motivates. I said it's my mom's birthday this week, so the sun is in Aries. My mom is in Aries. She has an Aries sun. She also has an Aries rising. So I was raised by an Aries. I have memories as a young kid. I have a memory one time of we needed to get to church on Sunday and there was a really bad snowstorm and my mom got me up earlier than normal and she started putting on all my snow clothes and bundling me up and she said, guess what? We're going on an adventure. That's Aries. They're willing to drive through the snow. They're willing to move halfway across the country for a job. They're willing to travel, to do things, to blaze their own trail. My mom really likes hiking. That's a very Aries activity. Getting out there, hiking. We will be celebrating her birthday by hiking and line dancing because that's what my mom loves to do. So you have this transformative energy. You have this energy that's willing to fight. Aries are willing to fight. They're willing to get into conflicts. They're willing to stand up and they're willing to go to bat for what's important to them. You also have a planet and a sign that both care about independence, about freedom. You have Aries bringing that courage with it. And you have Neptune, the planet of dreams. Neptune is the planet that rules illusions and disillusions. Like I said, it's the planet that rules dreams. It's the planet that rules drugs, actually. It's a planet that rules spirituality and intuition. So a couple things that I think we're going to really be seeing with this Neptune and Aries energy is it's going to be so easy for people to harbor disillusions of themselves and for us to do that too. Neptune is a planet that doesn't really accept reality. It's going into Aries, a planet that's willing to fight for what, or a sign that's willing to fight for what it believes in. And so I do think we're going to be seeing a lot of people that don't understand that they are seeing disillusions, that they're being told false things. They don't understand that reality and their reality are two different things. We're going to see conflicts come out of this, but we're also going to see growth come out of this. Because who's to say our reality is the worst reality? It's important when we're thinking about our illusions, when we're thinking about what our reality is, to consider other people. That's very, very important to do. But who's to say that maybe some of our disillusions might actually be good ideas? We have to take the time, we have to think it through, and we have to think about others. That's a very important thing to remember during this energy. Another thing that I do think is really going to happen, I think it's important during this time to follow our intuitions. I think that's going to be something that's really going to help us survive, help us thrive, help us grow. The other thing is I think we're going to see a change in spirituality. I think the spiritual movement is going to adjust, it's going to grow. We are already seeing changes in the spiritual movement. When Neptune was in Pisces, we saw the growth of the crunchy to alt-right pipeline. We saw this growth of people taking their spirituality to an extreme, taking their spirituality and not caring about other people, not doing anything with it except for really promoting themselves. And we're already seeing those people getting called out. I think we're going to see a shift in who our spiritual leaders are. I think we're going to be seeing a shift in how people accept spirituality. I think we're going to see a shift away from spirituality in a box, and I think we're going to see more of a growth of accepting of being who we are. And again, when it comes to Neptune, I don't like making predictions because it's one of the planets that you just never know. But that's what I think we're going to have. So that's the biggest thing to talk about this week. The rest of the astrology we'll just cover pretty quickly. So also on the 30th, we have the moon moving into Taurus. And let me also mention the rest of the astrology, so that Neptune and Aries, that's something that's going to continue coming up. That's something that's going to be lasting for a while. That's something we have more time to look at, to discuss, to figure out. The rest of the astrology this week is how our week is going to go. So we just talked about the big things. Now let's just talk about us and our week. So on Sunday the 30th, the moon's moving into Taurus. This is a time of peace and serenity. The moon in Taurus is kind of like going to a spa. Being relaxed, being calm. Having something that's constant and long-term is also going to be important during this Taurus moon. So this is the time we want to look at how do we want our lives, what do we want to keep in our lives long-term? What makes us comfortable? What gives us a good foundation to stand on? What brings us joy? And focus on those things. Then on Tuesday, the moon's moving into Gemini. When the moon's in Gemini, things are more active. They're more breezy. Things just go with the flow. I don't really like that this is happening on the 1st because I do think Gemini moon probably does not have really great April Fool's jokes. I am prepared this year for some really bad April Fool's jokes. Hopefully I'm wrong, but we're going to see. Because Gemini doesn't really take anything seriously. They don't think through things quite as quickly or as well. It's more of like gut reactions when the moon's in Gemini. So we're going to see how people handle that, but I think some people might not do too well. But fingers crossed, I'm wrong. Then on Thursday, the 3rd, the moon's moving into Cancer. This is a time, again, of peace. This is a time of finding ourselves at home. While the moon at Taurus was at the spa, the moon in Cancer is in the bathtub at home. This is a good time to really search out a feeling of belonging. This is the time to really sit down and say, where do I belong? Where do I feel like I belong? Where do I feel comfortable? Where do I feel at home? I am also getting that this is going to be a really good healing time. So if you are into witchcraft, you do any shadow work, this is going to be a good time to do shadow work. This is a good time to probably go to the doctor too. If you have a medical issue that's coming up, this would be a good time to look at that. And then on Friday the 4th, we actually have 3 aspects to talk about. So these are all happening all at the same time and kind of all on top of each other. So we have Sun sextile Uranus, Mars sextile Uranus, and Mars trine Saturn. So let's look at them each individually, then we'll talk about them together. So on Friday the 4th, the Sun sextile Uranus brings in change. It brings creative flair to common sense, but in a way that, like, common sense is still kind of there, but I think we can all admit common sense isn't what it used to be. So it brings creative flair to the new common sense. The common sense that's not quite common sense, but hey, you know, it's fun to figure out how we get to the places that people get to the places where they think the things they think. This is going to be a time of order and chaos. So there's going to be chaos around us, but we can actually find order in it. We can actually find motivation. We can find production. We can find ways for things to move forward in the chaos. This is a time where we want to really take our restlessness and turn it into balance. This is a time that we can find balance in our lives. You have the sun, you have this big planet that's about ourselves and about us and who we are, and it's very grounded. And then you have Uranus, which is another, nowhere near as big as the sun, but nothing is. But you have Uranus, which is another big planet that is about other. So sun is about us, internal. Uranus is other, out there, external. So this is a time we can, in fact, find balance in this. We do have to look and see, where are we restless? Where are things coming up? And we do have to put a little bit of work in towards it. Anything that's going to be the old way of thinking, the old way of doing, the old routine is going to feel so restrictive, and a sense of rebellion is necessary during this. This is a good time to step out of your comfort zone, step out of your box. Go fight against what feels restrictive. This is a time where we can make change. We can go from restless to balanced. We also have Mars sextile Uranus too, which brings in a lot of that chaos, a lot of that potential for balance. Mars rules Aries, just so you know, so we are still getting more of that Aries energy. Mars does bring with it a desire for fun. It brings some extra motivation with it. It brings, again, just change, unexpected. You have no idea where this is going to lead you. You have Uranus, the planet of expect the unexpected, and then you have Mars, which rules Aries, and so you have the planet of trailblazing, blazing your own trail, going off path. So relax and see where it leads. It's going to be fun. This is also a time where if there is something boring in your life that you have to do, I recommend trying to find a way to spice it up. And if there's an area in your life that you just want to add some spice, add some spice. We are not eating butter noodles during this energy. We are having some curry. We're going through the entire spice cabinet. We are adding whatever we want. We're adding some Cajun. We're adding some Old Bay. We are adding some red pepper flakes. We are adding spice during this energy. And on top of that, Mars is also trine Saturn. So we're adding this spice. We're going through this chaos. We're expecting the unexpected. We're going off path. And we're doing all of this with extra strength and ambition and a motivation to get things done. When Mars sextiles or trines Saturn, or sextiles, but trines, we have the ambition to get things done. It's a trine, so we do have to work for it a little bit more than if it was a sextile. So we have to tap into ourselves and we have to push and we have to move forward. And we can do that. This is a good time for our relationships because we do tend to have more loyalty and devotion in our relationships during this time. So if there is somewhere that your relationship needs work, or we need to grow, or someone that you need to kind of connect with again, this is a good time to do that. And this is also a good time for lasting success to begin. This is the time to put in the work. We have Mars trine Saturn, Mars sextile Uranus, Sun sextile Uranus. We are going to be ready to move forward. We are going to be ready to rebel against anything that holds us back. We are getting out of that box. We are getting ready to fight whatever war Neptune in Aries brings us. And it's during this time that we can find success in our lives, that we can find lasting success. We just have to put the work in. We have to be ready for the change, and we have to be ready to rebel. So let's join the revolution. Thank you so much for being here. I love doing these videos every week. I hope everybody else enjoys watching these videos every week. If you want to comment, add in the comments a happy birthday to my mom. I'm sure she would really appreciate that. You can also do all the other stuff to support these videos, like subscribe, I'm trying to think, share with your friends if you want to. But you know what I'm going to say? The only thing that I ask is you come back next week. I'll see you then.